So we used the car dolly this time, and it's easy enough for one person to drive the car on and off of it. And the only problem I had is the front straps. They're generic, and I had to figure out a way to wrap the strap one loop around the rear before locking it in, just to take up some of the slack. And then they had to be retightened 5 times. They stretch when they're new, I guess. So we'll see. So I'm here for only like an hour and a bit before I head off to the island. So drag race and then road race. That's the plan. Alright, hope it's a quick back-to-back passes on the racetrack. We'll see what happens here. We're running out of time. The track test and tune was supposed to be starting at 9:30 or 10. It's after 11, and I got it at leave for 11:30, so I'm going to do a couple of quick passes. One with no nitrous, one with 50% nitrous, and then we'll try the more nitrous and see if we can get any traction. Alright. switch?
Yeah. It basically comes alive at about 5,000.
What does it got for brakes?
That's the braking system is really good. But like, hear something weird? Oh, is the timing belt gone?
No, it's still there. Timing belt is fine.
What was that? It sounds like there's something loose. Like
I saw the timing belt move. Oh, there is your adjustable camber. Yeah, your gear is broke. The bolt came out of the gear. Oh, it's up the first bolt. Yeah.
Well, here's the GTI after a day of racing and the catastrophe. Maybe it's not a huge catastrophe, but look at this problem. First of all, there is no alternator belt. The alternator belt, somewhat above 8,000 RPM, flew off, and it took out the timing chain, or the timing belt. Look at this. It's completely busted, and all the bolts and everything are out of it. But miraculously, the timing marks in the crank and the cam line up. It actually still ran and started, but it sounded awful. But I think it sounded awful because this thing was rattling around in the engine area. Who knows? What's the likelihood that the timing marks would still line up if it had spun? I'll find out tomorrow. But yeah, maybe the motor is just in a bad way. Maybe I'm incredibly lucky, but it's the whole issue of not having a cam belt cover and the dangers of having it exposed the way I've had it exposed like this. Any crap that gets in there can blow the motor up, so I think I've learned a lesson. So this is my new GTI home on Vancouver Island. Normally the car dolly will be at the back, but I couldn't run the car, and so it had to go in first and the dolly second. And it's tough getting it in because of the, it's too bad it's gravel here, it's hard to push the car around. So I think I found out what's going on. The fluid damper at the bottom was loose, starting to get loose, and you know, I didn't use grade 10.9 bolts or better. I was using stainless steel Allen bolts, and I think they're a little slipperier and didn't torque in as good as they should have. So it started to get loose. That threw the alternator belt off, but it also, with the solid motor mount, created a lot of additional vibration that helped loosen the adjustable cam sprocket. Allen nuts, or sorry, Allen bolts. So as I said, the timing marks didn't move. So what was happening is the cam sprocket was able to move back and forth plus or minus 8 degrees or so. Hopefully that's not enough to cause piston to valve contact with my 12-to-1 pistons and my big extra large valve. So we'll see. I will come back in 3 weeks to Parksville, and I will pull the spark plugs out. I don't have the right tools right now, and then I have an inspection tool to look down and inspect the combustion chambers. So yeah, so that seems to be the order of events. So, you know, out of balance motor, high RPM, shaking, throwing the belts, and causing, I think the solid motor mount, as I said, is a little crazy as well. So we all know high RPM can put massive amounts of stress on an engine. So I think for me, given that this engine likes to produce really its peak power in that 7,500 RPM range, just to rev it above there, save the motor and enjoy the car. So the DTC, the Hawk DTC 60 pads work incredibly well on the track, and these rotors are really already probably have 30 thou plus of wear on them from, you know, half a track day. I did end up getting a little bit of wear on the cooling ducts because of the drag racing slicks. They were the problem, not the at least I don't think the stock tires were, but anyway, a little bit of wear on the inside. And then you can see I've got some damage to my control arms. They're hacked up because of the chains, the travel limiting chains on the car dolly. So I think yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do about how to secure the car in the car dolly without causing that issue in the future. But I have ordered new, much smaller straps for the old snowflake wheels, because the straps I was using were just way too large, and with better quality straps that are tighter, I'm not sure I'll have that problem in the future. So anyway, at some point I'll replace those control arms because they do look sad the way they are right now. Otherwise, the car, I don't, I mean, we'll inspect the combustion chambers and we'll put it all back together and see if it runs. But it will be 3 weeks before I get back here, unfortunately. So anyway, when I was drag racing, here's a clean run with no nitrous. So yellow is the throttle, so I ramp the throttle up and I get fairly clean. I get a little bit of tire spin, fairly clean, and then into second and so on. And this is a 13.8 second pass, so equivalent to my previous pass that was good. And I tried using some nitrous, but I just back way out of this thing to see if I can find the next run. So let me just zoom in a little bit here. And there's 2 runs here. Okay, let me zoom in again. Alright, now so here is the definition of a disaster. This is really nasty. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit more actually. So what's going on here is the clutch is slipping. So you can see my throttle, I'm going on and off the throttle. A lot of messy stuff going on here, but basically the nitrous is the square line. So every time the nitrous gets engaged, you end up with the RPM going up. See, nitrous gets engaged here, RPM spikes, speed doesn't change. This is tire slip here, but the speed sensor is not changing, which means the clutch is slipping, which is really awful. So I slipped the clutch all the way through here in second gear, and then multiple times in third gear. So I'm going to talk to Josh, who supplied me the custom clutch. It doesn't seem to have the ability to hold with the nitrous. The other thing I learned on the track, and I'll see if I have this run here. I think it's in the next file actually. Let me just open up the next file. So yeah, this is the one here. So I went and took the slicks off and put the stock snowflakes on with the Deriza 2 Bridgestones on, and then I ran it again with the nitrous, and the clutch held. So I'm not exactly sure what the hell was going on, but this time I ended up shutting it off at the top of third gear. I missed shift. I was going to shift into fourth, but I screwed up. And by the way, I got the nitrous working nicely. If you look at the CL comp, or just look at the air-fuel ratios on CL comp, it's all stable. It's adding, here's CL comp here, and it's only adding 10 to 15%. Basically, you get a tiny, whenever the nitrous kicks on, you get a tiny spurt of lean, and then I settle in very quickly to my 13:1 fuel ratio. But anyway, the reason why I bring this up is that the Hoosier DR2, the Drag Racing Series 2 slicks, because I've got negative camber on the car, they're not working well. And so with this pass, it was like a 13.4 second pass, but I shut off at a little under 1,000 foot mark and then coasted through the lights. So I only got to about 95 miles an hour through the lights, but I was still tripped the lights at 13.4. So I would have been a sub 13 second pass. And this is with the nitrous on 30%. So about a 25 horsepower increase, 25, 30 horsepower increase. So I have to figure this out. Am I getting, it looks, well, clearly from the previous run, it looks like I was getting clutch slip. I will do some more experimenting with this. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is, so this is the new cam gear I'm going to get, the Kent power pulley. There's very few available. Most of them are of this style here, which is, no, that's an aluminum one, but a lot of them are the original steel, and this is Tectonics here, but a lot of them are, and Tectonics doesn't even carry this one anymore. They look like this. So they're the original OEM pulley that's been cut apart, and you can see from the back that it's been sliced and then it's been bolted back together so that you can then adjust it with the Allen head screws. And in my case, I've damaged mine, and so I can use it, but I've remachined it and cleaned it up, but I don't want to trust it anymore now that it's banged around. But I've got INA Engineering doing me a steel crank, the fluid damper crank, damper pulley, whatever you want to call it. I've got a steel hub-centric spacer being made. So we're modifying the fluid damper, opening up the ID to 32 millimeters, and then press fitting in a steel insert / spacer, and then using the OEM grade bolts to bolt it back on to the crank sprocket. And so I'll put a new ABF timing belt on, and then the new damper, and then this as well. I will double check. I've got a leak down test I'll inspect the cylinder heads and see if I've bent any valves. I hopefully haven't. As I said, the timing lights are still in alignment. So anyway, I expect to be able to get back over to Vancouver Island when the car is in storage, and I will do that in about a week's time, depending on how quickly INA Engineering can machine up this pulley and send it to me. So there you go. Crazy. That's racing, as they say.